In today's video, we're going to be exploring redesigning a testimonial component for my own website, and we're going to be doing it using Adobe XD. So a while ago, I launched my SaaS course, and when I did that, I realized at literally the last second that I didn't have testimonials on the site itself. And I had some testimonials. I had them on the specific course pages, but not on my general sales page, and that was silly. And so I threw something together really fast, and I don't like it. They're not very nice, and I want to put something together that's a little bit nicer than that. So this video, I want to be doing a little bit more design here from time to time, and so I'm doing this as a design and code challenge, because next week I'm going to code up the testimonial that I end up designing. But I want to also be using this to explore not so much exactly how XD works. So if you're using a different design software, that's fine. A couple of the shortcuts might be different, but you can still achieve the same thing. So it's some of the design principles, and I want to show you guys a little bit of how I work when I'm designing something using a software, as opposed to doing it with CSS and all that before we get to that step. The other thing is, I want to look at how it fits in context with my site, and then also how I get my ideas, where I get ideas from when I'm designing something. And at the end, I'm not really going to settle on something, so I'm going to leave it up to a vote for you to let me know what you think looks good, because I came up with a few different ideas, and I'm not sure which direction I want to go in at this point, so I'd love your input on that. So at the end, there'll be a little poll card votey thing, and I'd love to know what you guys think. Alright, so this is the current page, so let's go take a look at what I have, and that's what my current testimonial looks like. It's not ugly, I don't think, but it's not fantastic by any means. It does the job, but we have the quotation marks are kind of ugly-ish. It doesn't have anything that nice with it. It's sort of tacked on. My website as a whole is sort of tacked on. Let's go. I dredged up my design document when I was originally designing it, and it spent quite a bit of time, coming up with different ideas and different stuff, and was kind of happy. I like sort of these now that I see it, or I also like this navigation that I never ended up doing. I might go to something like that at one point, but my whole website was sort of tacked together, and especially. I did these testimonials in about, I don't know, 10 minutes when I realized that I'd put all this copy on here and didn't bring in the testimonials that I had. So right before the course went live or opened up, I tacked these on at the last second. So they're working, but I want to make them look a little bit nicer, and it's also going to be me diving into my site a little bit to make some other changes potentially at the same time. While I'm at it, but for now we're focusing really on the testimonial. So what I've done is I've actually looked around on the web to try and find other courses and what they're doing. And look, these are kind of boring too. So I'm not the only one that doesn't have the nicest testimonials. And even, Treehouse is just, as far as I could tell, I didn't dive in too deep, but they're just pulling from Twitter. So, that is all right. But one thing I do like to do is make Pinterest boards. And so this is a Pinterest board that I quickly threw together while looking around. I found a couple things on Dribbble and a couple things here on Pinterest itself. And I like doing this because it collects my ideas really visually, and it gives me something to look at. So I have just a general web design one that I randomly, when I'm bored, I might go on to and add stuff to. I haven't been on there in a long time though. But I'll look back at that for some inspiration. One reason I like looking at sites rather than just this, especially if it's from Dribbble, but all of these here, they're just showing the testimonial, but outside of context. So I don't see what the rest of the site is, how it ties into the rest of the site. But for my purposes now, that's good enough, because I can tie it into my own site. And I'm just looking for things that I like compared to what I did. Or maybe also looking at what I did. I don't want to look at any of these and go okay, I'm stealing this one idea. I want to look at them and go, okay, these are cool things people are doing. And then I might sleep on it, and then the next day come back and, without looking at it again, redesign my thing. So I'm not actually going to copy anyone, hopefully. But one thing I tend to always like with testimonials is sort of the oversized quotation mark. So you'll see that popping up in quite a few of these. I don't want to have to load in a new font though. My font stack has enough going on, so we'll see what I do for my for that. I might even at one choose a different font and make it an SVG icon or something that I bring in instead of having it as like a font that has to be loaded. So we'll see about that, because I really like sort of that style, but it also goes with the font they're using there. Actually, we can make that a little bigger, I guess. I like this, what they did there, the big font that they're using for it. I think it looks really good. So I'm sort of a big fan of that one. I also like this one, but I don't have big images that I can use. So these are a couple ones I do like. I like sort of the box on here with the two backgrounds. I don't think I can actually do that one though, because I don't have that. I don't have big images that I can necessarily use. So, but I like the idea here of this image with this little, highlighting with the little corner on it there. I think that looks kind of cool. A lot of them, obviously, we have our circle here. I grabbed this one just because there was a whole bunch of different stuff to look at, and I'm just looking at different ideas. Again, we have the oversized thing, but I sort of like here where it's more subtle instead of really jumping out at you. And they did that on a few of these where they have the quotation marks that are super subtle, and then using the brand colors for different stuff. So I sort of like that, and the big font on that one, for example. So yeah, I think I love doing stuff like this and just getting a whole bunch of stuff I can look at really visually before I start working and let it absorb into me a little bit. And the more you look at, the more I think ideas can settle in. And this interesting comment that a few times in this video, I noticed it was really doing, and so I'm speeding it up. I want to show you what I was actually doing, but it was a bit long for some really mundane things. But for people just to see a little bit how I work, I didn't want to get rid of it completely, instead of just like jumping way ahead. So I'll either be doing a running commentary like this, or maybe giving you some music. And I said I want to sort of, I'm wondering a little bit. I like elements of this, except I'm not sure how I'd use it exactly, but to learn more, I can obviously get rid of. I'm going to ungroup this too, which was Shift Command G or Shift Control G, depending what computer you're on. So like even the name maybe could end up getting, can I drop that? I don't think so. No. That font though, which is, I know the name of that font, Marydale. Marydale. I don't want to put the whole thing using that. Like, I don't want to take this all into Marydale, because I think it's just gonna be way too hard to read. Like, people aren't gonna read that. It's too much. So I'm not gonna do everything like that, but I think having the name in that could work. And maybe if it uses the color. I want to try and bring punches of my color back in. The other option I was thinking of is maybe, I have this box, so I can actually delete that too. I'm going to do a Shift Control or Shift Command, and then open square bracket, and it will push it all the way to the back. I think I'm going to make them wider than it is, so it sort of breaks the flow a little bit, but it grabbed the attention a little more. I'm just going to move this down because it's getting in the way. And then the other, I can grab a corner here to make a circle if I want circles, because then I can have like something hanging off. Yeah, one thing I was also thinking of was my fill here could actually use that color we were just looking at. So if I came in and grabbed that, and this could then go to white. The only thing is that might be hard to read for accessibility reasons. That's 100% view. It's a little bit, but I like those ones that are like that. But again, I don't know, is it gonna be too much? I don't think it'd be too much if it switches color like that. Again, do I make my boxes small, like the text? And then I could have like something like that. I don't know, the alignment's a little weird, or even something like that's not too bad. You know, I could throw something in like that for a long one. And the nice thing with this is I can do a repeat grid just to make a second one. Whoop. And then turn off I can ungroup my grid so they're not really linked together anymore. And then I can take advantage of this and just make it shorter and give myself, and I know I said I was doing all this in context, but then I could also, you know, we could do something like that just to see like if it was a short testimonial versus a long testimonial, is it a good idea to have such a long testimonial? I'm not sure. Now this is super boring, so let's bring in my one of the reasons I want to use quotation marks, and that's obviously not the quotation marks I want. Why is it doing that? All the Adobe software defaults to like shifting it over to the right one, and I just got these off screen. I just copied and pasted to get the proper ones. So you know, this could be like really big. I don't know if what if I did, this is on light. Why'd I use light and not like, I have basic sans and I get these nice ones and I didn't even use them. I did it with the wrong like font weight. I'm not loading black in. That might be why. I think I have bold though. I do have bold. That's not what I used on my site, is it? Why'd I use the light ones? I could use the bold ones. Those are so much nicer. So I can use it as a font. Because then say this was here, like it could be one of those, you know, we saw some that had like these massive oversized things. I'm sending all the way back and then control or command and then the square bracket the other way until it pops up. So it's still behind my text. And then I can drop that, like, you know, we could do something like that. One thing I'm going to suggest, if ever you're working on something and you have a layout or something that you think looks decent, just copy it over and then, you know, you can make changes to it. So maybe instead of that, it could be this color, but again, with like the low opacity, doesn't really work as well. It's on top of the text though. Why is it going on top? Oh, this is grouped. Why is that grouped? So that's where like maybe this, I could keep it white, keep my text. I think I just did 333. We'll do it that for now. You know, I could do something like that and maybe this could even be lower then. I think I like this better than that right away. It's just a bit lighter. This is breaking things up, so I'm already leaning more towards that. I sort of like this box. Like I get the box with the quote. Let's just see if I did like a short one, because this is massive. So how would it work with a short one? Oops. Where'd my text go? There it is. Let's shrink her down like that. I'm looking at balancing things a little bit. The size of the name could change a little bit. One thing you'll notice is I am making sure that I keep like a white space all around, ignoring my quotation marks. That works too. I'm sort of leaning this way. I think I already came up with something I like. But I'm not done there, but I don't like these ones, but that's okay. Let's go, and again, you want to iterate. Don't delete things you have just because you don't like it as much, because sometimes you come back to it and you actually go, hey, that was better. So now I can delete, now I can delete this because I have those ones saved there. And now I can keep working on these ones. And actually I can delete this from here. So now this is my new starting point because I like it. So I'm making sure that I'm keeping like a nice white space around the text, just to make, you know, this should probably be even a bit, this could come out a bit more, but I want to make sure that my text is breathable. There's like space around it so we can focus on the text. Now, one thing I want to think about is like, maybe I want this to be bigger and be able to, the only thing now is the line length is getting really long. I don't want the line length to get too long. So if I did something like this, then he'd probably want, I'd have to bring, so there, maybe I'd even drop like the hyphen that I was using, bring in the image. Didn't know I had a text box there. And then I could have like the name like that, but now it looks weird just with the alignment. Like here I have all this text and then this is center aligned. What's it center aligned with? Like it's not lining up with anything. So you could come in and make like a little box. So again, I'm looking at keeping these distances all the same with this box. And no border, and the fill could be, whoops. I should just save this as a color because it's the only one I'm using right now. In XD, if you go to here, you can go plus, and now it's saved as a swatch. So I can drop this opacity like way down. Probably want it to be the same as this, which would now be like hanging out there. So I could do something like that. Then this would all be centered. Let's just grab that, grab him, and hit center. There we go. This would be a lot better actually if I had, and I didn't ask the people I got them from, but say I did like front end web, front end dev or something like that, as like a little micro copy that I could then do. I'd even want like front. You'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Front, and I can't type, and dev. My mic's in front of my keyboard, so my hands are never in the right spot. So I'm going to grab all of that, center it again. But this I'd probably bring down to like a smaller font size. I think I have some 14 on my site. Of course, that's not 14, is it? Okay, sorry. I had this really weird problem where anytime I would try and do anything, like I was option dragging here and then coming in and typing front and dev, and it kept changing the text here and not letting me do it here. It was really weird. Side note, don't write all caps with a script font or a decorative font or whatever, because it looks super weird. So this one I want to switch back to basic. See, I can type here now. Oh my goodness. Okay. I have it saved here, I think. Do I not have it basic? I just want like a basic 16 point. That's fine. Can I use my drop down? Good. Bold. And let's make it like a lot smaller. 12 is probably too small. 13, 14. I have a small font size that I'm using. And then, you know, something like that, just a little micro, adds a little bit to this side of it. Something like that could be nice too. And I'm wondering here, instead of being this, if I'd used just my regular, since I have the green here and I have the green there, no, I don't like that. I'd have to go lighter even. I'd want it to be, you know, something like that where it's barely noticeable. I think is a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go back and look at that, and I sort of like this one better, but so what if I, and sorry Facundo, seeing your face everywhere right now. I'm assuming you're watching this. I hope you're watching it. So let's grab this, and again, we want to iterate on our current design. So I'm wondering if I can use this now. And this is, as I said in the intro, this is going to be a bit of a different video, because in the sense that it's not as organized, but I wanted it to be about my workflow and seeing like how we do these types of things in the real world. And you know, it's not, let's just outline that. Can I outline? Oops, not open. Can I not outline? Whatever. I'm using shortcuts from other software right now, and it's not working. So like, whoops, I'd want a bit more room. Maybe the image could be a little smaller, but it would have to be, or it could even go like across like that. What am I thinking? We could do something like this. That could be nice. And then we could even shrink that down like that. What I'm thinking here is, instead of having it, you know, it's too short. Let's say this is a short one like that. And I sort of like that a lot. This is sort of like super typical though, right? Like super, super typical, but it's probably typical because it works well. You know, blah, 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 blah. Let's just, I don't remember what was bold. I just want to see what it would look like with my bold text in there a little bit. Yeah, that's sort of, I see why people go with this sort of thing. What if I took that off, or if I don't know if you can do a clipping, or even like that could work. Because what I'm thinking is, what if I took this, we're going to zoom out. Command 0 will zoom all the way out on something, and I forget what the shortcut is. Command 3, if you make a selection, all right, let's just delete this. If you select something, I think it's Command 3. Yeah, it zooms into that selection. I love that. Instead of having it be a regular thing, whoops, let's grab all that, Command G or Control G, and group it. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Whatever. We're just mocking things up. It's not real text. My idea wasn't going to work perfectly here. But say it was outside the side like that a little bit. And then it ended up being with some floats. All right. The reason I don't think it's going to work the way I was hoping it would was, we can, whatever. So shrink that a bit shorter, and then the text would keep going back to its normal. And then I could probably get another one, the same idea down on this side later on. I don't know if that would cause too much back and forth though. Could be one issue that it would cause, because then it's gonna like make this weird snaking pattern. The nice thing with that is like you're reading down, it catches your eye. I sort of like that idea. Maybe it would be even further out, except this would be a bit more of a challenge. Like once we got to mobile, I'm not sure. I guess it would just take up the whole screen, which would be fine. The thing I'm not sure now is if, these quotation marks, like it looks weird if it's here. Do I bring it only inside? That's super ugly too. Having, it's a design element. I'd almost want to shrink it down if I was doing this, just so it doesn't ruin the space and make this text too hard to read. And now actually these two both being the same font size, it sort of bugs me a little bit. Would I be willing to shrink this? But I think that'd be awkward too. I'd probably leave it. Something like that. I sort of like that. It's super typical though. I don't know if I want to do it just because it's like the most typical ever type of testimonial. So that's sort of bugging me a little bit. So I'm going to do a Command 0 and go back and look at what I've done so far. And these are always popular too. I think one of the reasons this style is super popular is because you usually get like 3 that go across like that on a page, instead of being sort of like floated out to the side. Because the more I look at this, the less I like it actually. And what would happen, since let's take you, and option drag is like the greatest thing ever. I don't know what software invented, if it was from Adobe or if it existed before Adobe, but for iterations and stuff like that, it is so great. And this could be white. I should have just had this open from the beginning, because that's what I should be doing. This can be white. Again, I'm not sure if that meets accessibility standards or anything. And these could be something like that, I guess. I mean, it grabs your attention, that's for sure. If you're scrolling down, you're definitely going to stop, or maybe not stop, but you'll definitely see it and maybe scroll by really fast. It looks nice and clean. I've been doing everything with circles. What would happen? I have 2 ideas. I'm going to grab both of them because I want to try, I have room. Let's just take you down here. Just to spice things up a little bit, because we're kind of boring right now. What would happen? I'm trying to think. I want to do like a drop shadow if I just did. Let's make a new circle. L is for line. I forgot. What's my shortcut here? I'm thinking, it's E for ellipse. Makes sense. In other software, it would be, if ever you want to do a circle, don't try and draw it from like inside. Circles work the same as squares. And so with my smart guides here, I can see that right here is like where the corners would meet. So if I hold shift and go out, it makes a perfect copy. No border, and I want my fill to be this color, but send it back. I want to see it though. Where's my circle? There it is. I was thinking like I could make this with a drop shadow for sure. If I just did like a little, I'm not sure I like that, but that's where maybe. Or I mean, another option I could do. Let's just bring you all the way to the front. And is it the shadow? No, background blur. Opacity? Why is the background going? Oh, because it's too blurry. Amount 0. Doesn't it? Oh, it's still. I thought the background blur will let you show the color through it. Brightness, opacity. Oh, there. I could do something like that too. Nah, doesn't really fit with the style of my site. What if this was a square instead? I made it circles, but we could make it a square. Could we? Again, I have to do with small pictures. If this could be a big picture, I think a square would work. And even then we could probably do something like, is it R for that? Until I don't use XD all the time yet. You know, if that was, no, I'm going the wrong way. If we did no border, change the fill to this color, you know, something like that. That looks kind of nice too, actually. I like that. What if I made this a bit smaller? Yeah, something like that could be kind of cool. Again, it pulls a bit more attention this way, or even then, that means I'm going to delete you because I don't, whoops. I'm leaning towards this one, the light ones more than the dark ones. But instead of doing it here, what if it was on like the whole thing? Either just on this part. Yeah, because I think if it did the whole thing, it's not terrible actually. I don't mind that too much. Because the other one, it could just be like down in the corner here, and then another one that's up in this corner. It's sort of, you know, a couple pseudo elements. I could even maybe then just bring this inside. Whoop. Something like that could probably work too. And I kind of like that. I don't know if I want both of these or only one. And even I could then, I don't know if it would be overkill. It's nice when you have a design element, if you can reuse that design element in different places, but they're just so close to each other. Like if I did there and there, it's probably a bit too much. And then I don't have this anywhere in my site existing now, so I don't know if that's going to be weird too. And just to take it just for fun, what if it was just around the whole box? I don't think I do that. It's not ugly, is it? I sort of have a border on them now. I don't hate it, but no, I'm not doing that. I don't like it either. I'm sort of leaning this way. I don't, what if we don't have that? It's really boring. So I'm going to have to ask people that helped for that, but that's cool. I can do that. Something like that could be nice. Let's go back to my site for a second though, because I do have to focus on them. Because I do have to focus on how it's going to be in context. You know, it is kind of out of context now. I do have this too, but that doesn't matter too much. And that's on a white. I'm just trying to think with the pictures. The white background won't matter too much, will it? No, I think it'd be okay. And I sort of, you know, we're so used to profile pictures. I can do it either way. Well, just for fun. No, what if we... That won't be round. This one, if I did this... That's weird, right? I'm just trying to think. Like, if the image is square, I find this makes more sense. Whereas if I go with a round image, I'm not so sure this makes as much sense. Then I might do that whole like double circle thing, but I didn't like the double circle as much. It's not that this doesn't make sense all of a sudden. It's just like, I find we're keeping some similar shapes going. And this would, I guess, I would have to, I'm just trying to think, when it goes responsive, it would have to turn in, it would have to turn into something that's like standing up, like it would switch. That's okay. That's not too hard to do. And I can even keep that little thing. I don't know if I like this thing. Do you like that? Okay, this is, you know, I get stuck on things like this. So then we just iterate and I come down to remind myself to iterate all the time. And just grab my artboard. This is more of an Illustrator thing where I like making lots of artboards, like just artboard. But iteration's always really, really nice to have. You know, it could even just be like the whole side like that. It could be something that goes through this way or something that grab the attention. That could work too, maybe. like something like that. And then if I went with a circle here, I don't think I would do round, like I wouldn't make it a pill shape. But maybe it could have like round. Nah, that doesn't make much sense. I wouldn't want it sticking out just one side. I definitely want it on both sides. And I'm not settled on what one I'm going to do right now, but I wanted to give you some idea of how I design stuff and just like sort of approaches that I take right now. And these are a bunch of the design approaches I've taken, and I'm going to settle on one and probably build it out a little bit more. And I'm leaning this way. So there's going to be a little poll that's going to pop up now, and I always forget how to check results for these polls. But I'm going to say, which one do you, I can't get that front end of to come with me. There we go. So the poll that's about to jump up, which one of these three do you like more? Or do you like none of them? Do you think they all look like crap? Let me know. Leave a comment down below. Whoops, I'm trying to zoom in. I want you to see them all. Oh, again, select all three, Command 3. Oh, it's because this is too big. So I'll zoom in this way instead. Yeah, let me know which one of these you like better, and leave a comment down below as well. But the card that does pop up, the vote there, I can easily track sort of the results. And you know, this, you could say this one, but with a circle or something too. I don't mind. But yeah, we're gonna stick with those three. And again, there'd be some bold text and some other stuff, and you know, this could be bigger. Like we could do that too. I don't like this actually. I think it's throwing off the balance because we have this item here that's getting attention, and then you know there's too much on the two sides. So for this one, actually, I do prefer the smaller one like that. And maybe I want like both corners. Maybe. No, I don't really like that. And there we have it. I'm pretty happy with those three designs, but I'm not sold on any of them yet. So once you vote, I'm going to sort of take the one that seems to be the most popular, and I'm probably going to refine it a little bit more and play around with it a bit more. And then in next week's video, we're going to be coding up that final thing. So you're going to see a little bit of behind the scenes of my own code in my own site while I go and do that. And it's a bit of a mess, as I said at the intro, and I think throughout the video. It was a little, my site was really thrown together quickly. So hopefully it's not too revealing into the bad code that I wrote. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to code that up and put it into the actual site. But I'd love your feedback. Did you like this? Do you want to see more design stuff? And of course, I also want your feedback on the designs I made. Were they good? Were they bad? So you voted for one, but do you have any suggestions for other stuff I could do? I'm open because the designs are there. I'm not going to completely throw one in the garbage, but I sort of want to build or focus on one of those ones. But if you have any ideas on a specific thing I could have done in one of those to make it a little bit better, I would love to hear it. I think that is it for this week. So thank you so much for watching. A big thank you to my patrons for supporting everything I do here. If you don't know about Patreon, it's a service you can use to help support creators who make content you find valuable. So there's a link to that in my description below. Also, if you haven't already heard, if you haven't been watching my videos, there's the community that has opened up. So please come and hang out with us in the community. It's a Discord server. There's a link below. You click it, you're in. You can come and hang out with us. We talk design, we talk code, we talk all sorts of stuff. So come and hang out with us. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I look forward to seeing you there. Before I forget, a big thank you to Lauren, my supporter of Awesome over on Patreon, for his super generous support. Thank you so much, Lauren. And of course, until next time when I go and design that testimonial thing up, don't forget to make your corner of the internet just a little bit more awesome. And a little bonus tip here for XD. In the video a few times, I went and grabbed a corner and I was dragging like that to make a circle. And that's cool. Or I did some just little minor rounded corners. And you can see it's linking all four of them together. So if you want, instead of changing all four of them, if you only want to change one corner, or you want to change them independently, just hold down Alt or Option. And you can see now I'm only doing one of those corners. So I can come and make some interesting. And I could even come on this corner and give it its own angle as well. So if ever you need to do that, it's not difficult to do. Again, that's holding Alt or Option on your keyboard.